Good morning, drink less, feel fresh family. Tommy Cartwright here, ready, eager, and absolutely keen, excuse me, to rock out with you for this week's Feel Fresh class every Monday, 8 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. You can come to these live. If you're watching live, hello, jump into the chat panel and say hello. If you are listening to this recording on Spotify or watching it on YouTube, hey, great to see you here. Hope you're enjoying the classes and episodes. Today we're diving down into the rabbit hole of the complexity, I should say, of long-term change when it comes to changing your relationship with alcohol. So this class is specifically for anyone who might be scratching their head thinking, why can't I do it? Or why have I slipped back? Or I was doing really well, but I've all of a sudden had a blowout. Anybody who's struggling to comprehend the reasons or the pain or the frustration around, excuse me, I'm going to clear my throat a couple of times throughout this call, so I'll do my best to either mute it. However, we don't like editing these classes too much because we like them pretty raw, real, and in the flesh. I'm just bringing someone onto the class. Hey, Justine, great to see you here. If you're watching this recording and you can hear me talking to anyone, that is because I'm talking to some live participants. And if you want to come live, just head to drinklessfeelfresh.com and register, and we'll see you next week. Bring any thoughts, questions, and feels, and I'll make sure that they are answered.
Morning, team.
Good morning, Nat Hodges.
He's back.
Nat is back.
Hello.
Oh, Nat, I was just absolutely killing the intro for today,
I heard it. I heard it.
but we'll rudely interrupt it for your beautiful smile. How are you, Nat?
Yeah, I'm great. I'm great. I'm good.
Nat's just been on an epic trip away. Nat, where'd you
Yep.
go?
Uh, I was snowboarding in Japan in two different spots, so we had a bit of a 2 week powder tour. It's
What,
terrible.
what, what's terrible? What's going on with
Uh,
you, Matt? You're not the one to take a break. You've taken a 2 week break away from
that's
work.
true. Yeah, it's 4 weeks into the year. I couldn't say no to the offer.
Yeah, that's hard to say no to. Well done, mate. Well done. Nat, today we're diving into the complexity of
Long
anybody
term.
that's feeling, yeah, long term, anybody that's feeling the frustrations. And the reason why I wanted to dive into today's call is I was speaking to one of our incredible private clients doing great things, um, who shared something with me, a frustration uh, about a physical condition that she was experiencing. And she was wondering if the physical condition is related to her detox journey. And I responded with something like this, which is going to provoke our call today. I said, whether it's directly related to your detox journey or not, what's more important to be aware of, your physical experience is 110% directly related to your energetical and emotional experience, and vice versa. And
Yep.
your emotional experience is directly related to your psychological experience. And your
Yep.
psychological and emotional experience is directly related to your neuroscience and neurochemical experience. And it just goes around and around and around. I said to this
Yep.
beautiful client, the biggest problem is isolating specific experiences that we have in the body to mean
Yep.
something and to have like one certain purpose or reason. For example,
Yep.
someone might be detoxing and all of a sudden get headaches, or someone might be experiencing what can feel like grief and trying to associate that to, okay, who's the person that's passed away?
Yeah.
Like we try to contextualize it. And I want to ask you, Nat,
Yeah.
why is it so beneficial for individuals who are either trying to change their relationship with alcohol or just looking to increase the quality of their life? Why do you find, because I know you love this approach, why do you find it so beneficial for people to understand the overall full spectrum
Yep.
development approach and the intricacies of how the body is always working in a really, um, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm going to use complex again, a really
Yep.
complex and intricate way. Why is it so important for someone to have that awareness as opposed
Yeah.
to identifying it specifically? And it's only this physical thing, it's not to do with emotion, or it's just this emotional thing, it can't have to do with my inflammation.
Yeah. It's you got to. I found with long-term change, serious change, you have to start with a an honest assessment. You have to start with a really honest assessment, and you have to start with a uh, correct expectation. And if you're really honest with yourself, the honest assessment and the humble assessment is that any long-term change touches everything in my existence. And it gives you a correct starting point. If when you start slicing your world up, oh, this inflammation's over here and my body starts, this headache's got to do with, just too much caffeine or whatever. You're not actually giving yourself any credit. If you treat yourself too simple, you're not giving yourself credit. You're not giving yourself an actual chance to look at things in their correct place. When you do give yourself credit and realize just how complex you are, just how integrated everything is, then you are more likely to go slower. You're more likely to have more compassion. You're more likely to take stop beating yourself up. So it's the honest view. It's actually the humble view. The humble and honest and compassionate view is, holy shit, I'm complex. I have to go slow with myself. I have to respect myself. I have to treat everything. Here you go, Tommy. When you realize how complex you are, you treat every experience as important. Everything becomes important. If you think you're simple and you should just be able to get it done and it's just effort, you don't treat yourself as important. So anything that happens on a detox journey, anything that happens in a long-term change approach is important. Clients jump on the call with me or you or whatever, and they say, "Oh, got some things going on. Probably not that important." I'm like, stop. Every word that comes out of your mouth is important to me. Every experience that comes out of your mouth is important to me for the whole picture.
Mm. Which is kind of, that's really interesting what you say right there, because isn't it fascinating that a lot of traditional therapeutic approaches, especially rehabilitation clinics, are designed to get someone to voice what they've suppressed for years.
Yeah.
So it's interesting when you say everything is important. It
Yeah.
almost comes to this, like, I kind of breathe and go, oh, geez, that's relieving to hear. Because how
Everything.
many of us, yeah, want to talk about the thing that's frustrating us, or aren't feeling happy in the relationship but don't feel that we can
Yeah.
say it,
Yeah.
or love work but have had the idea of maybe shopping around for work but don't feel that it's appropriate or
Yeah.
correct to talk about it.
Yeah.
And so,
That's
yeah, it almost sounds quite disrespecting to ourselves to not
mm.
treat things
It is.
as so important and
It's
valuable.
important. Yeah, that's right. It's a low self view if we throw things away or treat ourselves as simple. It's like, no, that's not a way to value yourself. It's not a way to value long-term change. It's it.
A good example of this, Nat, I was going to share. This is one that just came off the top of my head. I was thinking about it this morning. Great example was this. Nat, I was speaking to one of our good mates, Darcy, one of our golfing mates, really shit sales professional. And
Uh,
that's terrible. I've got to say, no,
no,
he's
it's
one of the
great.
best in Australia.
He's one of he's one of the best.
I got to throw that in there. He's one of the best in Australia. Average golfer though, average golfer.
Yeah.
Um,
Average
and I was
haircut
speaking,
too.
terrible haircut. Let it go, Darcy. Let it go. And I was speaking to him last week. We're having a great catch up chat. And I was sharing about my current experience. And 2024 is looking a lot different, physically looking different. My whole business is changing. All this change that's going on. And he had the most smart ass comment that was so
Of
good.
course.
He goes, yeah, it's funny. For those of you that know me, I've been on a neurochemical neuroscience journey for 8 months, changing my physical gut health. And he throws away this comment and he goes, yeah. And you just called the naturopath and asked her if she could help you with your gut health a little bit.
Yeah,
And
that's exactly right.
it was such a funny comment because he completely understands our approach. He said, "Isn't that funny?" You're like, "Hey, I'm experiencing some IBS symptoms. Got nothing to
Yeah.
do with psychology or emotional realms. I've got some IBS symptoms. Can you help
Yeah.
me get rid of them?"
Yeah.
Sure, they all go, but in the process as well, my world views of life, love, gratitude, family, roles, who I think I should be, who I think I shouldn't, what I think I shouldn't put up with anymore, what I'm interested in has
Yeah.
changed, business dynamics is changing, and I think that's a perfect example. Because if I wasn't aware of what we're teaching people now, like take me back even 6 to 8 years ago, I'd be in panic stations.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's what people get into. They get into panic stations. They try to change one contextually appropriate area of their life, and then a heap
yeah,
of different things change and it throws them in panic mode. Like, oh my God, what's going on? Like
yeah,
we got one of our clients. He's doing great things. Signed up to do some work with us. He just completed 90 days sober. He's like, this is fantastic. I'm working better than ever. This is going great. He said, but I'm a little bit concerned. I said, what are you concerned about? He goes, everything's going good at work, and like I've got everything I wanted. I'm finally
yeah,
alcohol
yeah,
free, but I'm just I'm feeling a little bit lost and insecure about myself.
yeah, yeah,
And I haven't really felt this before. He said something like, Tommy, I'm a kind of confident guy. I don't feel this. And I made the remark too. I said, oh, you just thought you were just going to kick alcohol to the curb and you keep everything that was
Happy
going wrong,
days.
and then it would just be all runs on the board.
Yeah,
um, Nat, you have an extensive resume when it comes to what you have researched and looked into.
yep.
Without without diving into the rabbit holes, could you share the rabbit holes just to give people some perception of when we talk about full spectrum development
Yeah.
and be prepared to play a bigger game? Like play a bigger game. And I've often had someone do our rebuild program online, right? And then they've said, yeah, I'm really loving it. I'm kind of also thinking about doing some acupuncture or some Chinese medicine intervention. And they toy
Yep.
around with these ideas, but then they say to me, but I don't want to do more things other than yours. And I think, unless I'm mistaken, your response is always the same. Do anything and everything your heart desires.
Totally.
Do all the apps, do all the programs, do all the
Go
professionals that
nuts.
you want to work with.
Yep.
And so my question to you is, Nat, give us
Yeah.
a little bit of a insight into the different approaches and how deep you can go from the holistic overall full spectrum kind of style that we have to the
Yeah.
detailed approaches that I know you've studied for a long time.
Yeah. Well, I'll go through the four major quadrants first of all, and this isn't kind of like what you could do. This is almost what you can do. This is all the approaches you can take. You can look at the upper right quadrant, which is the physical component of your life, the physical body, the chemistry, the neurochemistry, the medical approach, great approach. Normally opposing to that is the energetic approach. So you've got Chinese medicine healers looking at how energy flows and moves through the body. You can take a psychological approach and you can look at beliefs and meaning making and schemas and worldviews, how you're putting your world together. Because the challenge with that, Tommy, is because we're free thinking individuals mainly, you can look at the world in any way you want, but there's only a handful of ways that actually work, which is a scary thought. You can choose to look at the world any way you want, but there's only a handful of ways that actually grow human beings. The other Another approach is the sociological approach, which is purely environment. Like, are you in a place that's too hot for you, too cold for you, too windy for you, too open aired, too dry? Like the environmental factors.
Too
Then you can
busy,
look. What's that? Too busy?
too
Yeah,
busy, too
too busy.
boring, too not enough stimulation.
Yeah, yeah. And then you start to look at layers of all of them. So each of those four quadrants have incredible layers, So then you can start look at that's you can start to look at all the different spiritual systems and religious systems that all have gold in them as well. Like, so in this vast, vast territory and valleys of human flourishing, uh, the heart will be attracted to some, and and the heart is always trying to pull you into the most order. The heart isn't just a lovey, squishy place. The heart is the center of our world. So when the heart is pulled around the world through attraction, not just emotional, not just romantic attraction, but attraction to views and things and places and people and understandings and teachings. And so the heart is order. Wherever the heart is pulling you through attraction and magnetism and interest, whatever you're interested in will serve you. Even if your interests right now contradict your entire life, that's the power of an interest. An interest will contradict your entire life. That's how great they are.
Mm. Now, can you speak a little bit to, because this has certainly been my experience over 10 years and the majority of my clients. Can you speak to the interesting approach of gravitating towards one of these quadrants,
Yeah.
going all in, like
Mm.
going into the study or the therapy or the, yes, I love it, the learning. Can you tell us a little bit how, I don't want to use the word unbalanced, but diving into one, healing and working on one can kind
Yeah.
of then upset the others, or then it kind of requires your attention to look after the others? For
Yeah.
example, I said to someone, before I looked after my physical health, my psychological and emotional realm was better than it's ever been.
Ever
And then
been.
from working on my physical health and changing the interior structures of the body, the gut lining, etc.,
Yeah.
etc., my emotional world gets thrown out. And then there's been moments in my life where I've gone in onto a spiritual journey and felt really at peace in there. But it always seems to kind of,
Yeah.
move around. Why is that
Yeah.
happening?
Well, I mean, that's just a really natural, beautiful symptom of an open mind, going where the attention is needed. And that's why I said on that last little rant before, I was like, if you go where you're interested in, you're putting your attention on where it's needed. If you're sitting here and you've been a kind of pretty rational person that, built a secure life and you've got a nice family and everything's feeling a bit bored, so there's some kind of yearning for something more real, then go and explore the spiritual side. Go and read a whole bunch of books that you never read, or how many places are around. The reason why the spiritual realm, let's call it the transpersonal, is so great is because a lot of it's actually free. Like a lot of it's
Mm,
free. A lot of you can do a 10-day meditation retreat for free. Like, go do it.
mm,
And Tommy, I would when I was at uni, right? Like I would uh look, I don't I mean I suggest this, but it's still real. You can walk into any university and roll into a lecture. And I would roll into all kinds of different lectures just because I was interested in them. Like
that's
I'm not
brilliant.
yeah. You can really tool yourself up and educate yourself in a great way these days. It's uh it's really no excuse not to. If you're interested in something, bloody explore it.
Mm. Yeah, it's it's almost self-explanatory, isn't it? In the world
Yeah,
that we live in, after hundreds of years of fighting for education and access for all to have access to education, and at the click of a
yeah,
button, free
yeah,
podcast series, free YouTube, free classes to go to.
yeah,
I just found some free meditation classes in Port Macquarie here. Like
yeah.
there's ah
And
unlimited resources.
yes, we're in a time right now where the merging of world values is getting really intense. Like you'll see um, posts and offers and stuff that have all these different values that used to be separate emerging now. Anyway, It's why are talking like this, Tommy, the way we do, which is a merging of all these values. Like I saw a post the other day that had a Christ and religious theme to it. It had an economic and business opportunity theme to it. It had personality profiling theme to it, and it had masculine and feminine. Like all those merging of values in one Facebook post. 5 years ago, they were just one post each. Now these packages of information we're getting, if you really pay attention, you'll see that these packages of information are slammed and merged full of values that used to be disparate a few years ago.
Mm. You said to me a couple of years ago, you said, Tommy, people, well, probably 3 years ago now when we're coming together in business, you said people are remembering how complex they are. And almost
Yeah,
like as you said, I'm like, that feels so true to me.
yeah,
Like I love it when I'm in a state of pain or suffering or like it's all too much. And then I realize that's because I'm really complex.
yeah,
And it provides so much ease and peace for me. But when I'm sitting there going, oh, this should be easy. Like, for example, managing 3 kids. Oh, well, it should be easy. Like when we
oh my,
think people should be easy and we relate easy to simple
yeah,
often,
yeah,
there's nothing but judgment that comes from that.
yeah, yeah. If you're suffering, if you're coming into a bout of suffering, it's really important to go pause. I actually don't have any idea what's going on right now. I just need to be with this and wait. Like that's the best approach. People go, I'm suffering. Oh, it's because because I'm tired and I, hurt myself at the gym and now I've got a headache. It's like just wait. Just, you don't know that yet. You know.
Mm. Why? We've got one more question, and then we're going to wrap up because this is being done. Um, yeah, I got to ask that.
Yeah.
Why? Because people need to know the answer, right? They want to know. We want to know. We don't like sitting in the uncertainty. But why is sitting and waiting and listening
Yeah.
the ultimate approach?
Yeah. Why sitting and waiting? I don't know. I don't know, but it is.
Mm.
Like there's, or I don't know how to answer that, but I do know how to answer the opposite, which is if you jump in and create a psychological model or story of what you think it is, the likelihood you've got it wrong is 100%.
Say that again in a different way.
When you are feeling something uncomfortable, and because of the discomfort, you jump in and you create a causal relationship. Oh, I'm just this because of X. This experience is just because I've had 2 late nights in a row. Like if you go and create a psychological model, that's all you're doing. You actually don't know why you're feeling that way. That's the truth, is you don't know. But what that does is then you close that little thing off of like, I understand that now. I know what to do about it. It's like, no, you don't understand it. You simply don't. And by creating these psychological, very fast, very assumption based psychological ideas of, oh, this is just because of that. This is just because of that. Then you don't inquire at all. You don't inquire into your life. You don't inquire into your experience. You don't know yourself. You just don't know yourself. And that's probably why, looking back now, why inquiry is the best approach, is because what you're saying is, I don't know myself. I want to know myself. I'm dedicated to the truth of myself. I'm dedicated to a real life. I will sit and wait.
Mm. Anybody that's watching live, jump in the chat panel. Let us know what you think of that. If you're watching the recording, always let us know. info@drinklessfeelfresh.com. I think that's just incredible. I wasn't going to share this because you brought it up. If anybody's interested in the concept and realization of not acting on insecurity, not assuming that you know the reason why you have your problems, and if they keep repeating, the
Yeah.
evidence suggests you have no idea why they're there. Um, and want to look into self-inquiry, Nat and I actually run a self-inquiry practice for our online community every second Thursday. And if you'd like to attend those classes or come along, please send us an email at info@drinklessfeelfresh.com and I'll send you all the details and the registration link. 30-minute class every Thursday, inquiring into self, which is sitting in silence and listening for answers. Yeah, you're welcome. A couple of comments coming through. Fantastic. DLFF family, members and guests, thank you so much for being here. We've loved rocking out with you. We hope you really enjoyed the approach of acknowledging how deeply complex you are. And by getting there from realizing that there are the 4 quadrants that you can dive into when it comes to your healing journey, drinking less and feeling fresh, but ultimately really just coming home to who you actually are. Looking forward to seeing you same time, same place next week. Nat, good to have you back, my man.
It's great to be back. Great to be back.
See you same time, same place next week.
Bye.